Bill Wyman. The fact of the matter is that my bass line made the song just as much as Keith's guitar riff. Welcome back to Rockin'Rollin, where we dive deep into the stories behind some of the most legendary songs in rock history. The Rolling Stones, icons of rock and roll. But behind every iconic song is a story waiting to be told. Should Bill Wyman have gotten a songwriting credit for the Stones' Satisfaction, released during the first week of June 1965, was the Rolling Stones' first U.S. #1 single. It exemplified the concept of basing a song around a riff rather than a vocal melody or chord progression. Jagger told Rolling Stone magazine at the time, "It was the song that really made the Rolling Stones, and it changed us from just another band into a huge monster band." I always resented those moments where I'd come up with a bass riff that meant much more to a song than just providing a supportive rhythmic underbelly, and my contribution always seemed to be played down. Such a satisfaction. Whatever Mick and Keith might say, the fact of the matter is that, to me and many music lovers in the know, my bass line made that song just as much as Keith's guitar riff, said former bassist Bill Wyman. By the mid-60s, the songwriting partnership of Jagger and Richards had become the most powerful force within the group, with the remaining Stones sidelined, no matter what their contribution, never receiving any songwriting acknowledgments. It all began during the Stones' 1965 tour of America. "I wrote Satisfaction in my sleep," said Richards in his autobiography Life. "I had no idea I'd written it. It's only thank God for the little Philips cassette player. The miracle being that I looked at the cassette player that morning, and I knew I'd put a brand new tape in the previous night, and I saw it was the end. It was just a rough idea. There was just the bare bones of the song, and it didn't have that noise, of course, because I was on acoustic. But the bare bones is all you need." Mick Jagger finished the verses a few days later. In the BBC documentary, My Life as a Rolling Stone, Jagger revealed how Richards couldn't foresee the song reaching any level of credible success. "There's this motel in Clearwater, Florida, and I remember sitting with Keith and writing the song. Our manager, Andrew Oldham, said, 'This is like a #1 single. This is great.' Keith was like, 'I don't really like it. It can't come out as a single.'"
The Rolling Stones.
Wyman might argue that his contribution was overlooked and undervalued. Yet according to Keith Richards, Bill Wyman is an incredible bass player. "I'm still always amazed by Bill's tastefulness in his bass playing. He's a very discerning and sensitive musician. He might be embarrassed by that, but I gotta say it, he's like the top bass player for me."
Bill Wyman's an incredible bass player. I'm still always amazed by Bill's tastefulness in his bass playing. I gotta say, he's like the top bass player for me, man.
Despite Rolling Stone magazine naming Wyman among the top 50 greatest bassists of all time, he has often undersold his talent. "There must be hundreds of better bass players than me," he told Rolling Stone in 1974. "I mean, I could never play like Jack Bruce. If I was ambitious in that direction, I'd practice, but I don't. All I do is provide a bottom end for the band. You've got to build that foundation, and that's what Charlie and I did with the Stones. It's just making a foundation for other people to get off on and be extroverts. You know, you can sit in the back and just watch them and say, 'Here they go again.'" Bill Wyman eventually left the Stones in 1993, with ex-Miles Davis sideman Darryl Jones making his debut a year later on the group's Voodoo Lounge album. Bill conceded in a 1995 interview, "He's all right. I suggested several excellent young players who would have fitted the bill, but Mick and Keith wanted someone flash and funky." Thanks for joining us on this journey. Stay tuned for next episode. Until next time, and keep on rolling.
He don't know if it's right or wrong. Maybe he should tell someone. He's not sure just what it was, or if it's against the law. Something